On September 25th, 2015, Liz, Michael, and I decided to take a train trip from Tampa to Miami. We waited for our train, Amtrak PO 91, the southbound Silver Star, at the immaculate Tampa Union Station. Designed by Joseph F. Littner and opened on May 15, 1912, built by the Tampa Union Station Company, its original purpose was to combine the passenger operations for the Atlantic Coastline, the Seaboard Airline, and the Tampa Northern Railroad at a single site. On the wall closest to the boarding platform hangs a little-known wartime artifact. Following World War II, the Seaboard Airline Railroad produced these bronze plaques honoring employees who gave their all in the war effort. This one is on loan to the city of Tampa from CSX.
7 years. I knew Angelo when he worked here. He was like my best bud.
We used to have a kid. He was just a kid, and he would come over here to the block, and I let him in so he could talk to me. He said he wanted to be a conductor. Today he's a conductor.
Arriving at 11:50, right on time, was our train. We would be traveling south to visit my dad for my birthday, and it presented us a fantastic opportunity to travel by rail. Tampa is also the final crew change point on the southbound Silver Star. Here, the new crew prepares to climb aboard and make ready our train, while the old crew brings it safely to a stop. Getting underway, car attendants verified destinations, while Liz, Michael, and I settled in and enjoyed the view.
Never.
Would you like some gummy bears? You're good?
Our radios would be keeping us up to date along the way. No defects today on the southbound Silver Star.
Point 3. No defects. 7. Total axle. 6. End of transmission. No defects. 91. No defect. 91.
Rounding the curve at the McDonald Connection, we were truly in old seaboard country, with an influx of tourists traveling to a rapidly developing Florida. The seaboard enjoyed a prosperous decade in the 1920s. In 1924, Warfield, the then president and CEO of the railroad, began a 204-mile extension called the Florida Western and Northern Railroad from the Seaboard Main Line in Coleman, Florida, south to West Palm Beach, which for almost 30 years had been the exclusive domain of the Florida East Coast Railway. Warfield, however, was not content with what seemed to be a complete seaboard system in Florida, and at the end of 1925 announced that he would continue to build south from West Palm Beach. Groundbreaking for the Miami extension took place in Hialeah in January of 1926, and by December the line was open for passengers and freight. Deciding to stretch our legs, the gang and I moved up to the lounge for some better sightseeing. The coolest thing is the air-actuated doors. One push and it slides on open. It almost made me feel as though I was on the Starship Enterprise, not an Amtrak train. A few more miles flew by, and Liz and I decided to try lunch on the train. The snack bar is convenient and staffed by welcoming stewards. They have lots of options: sandwiches, burgers, pizzas, snacks, soda. You can even purchase wine and have your favorite brew, too. While we waited on our food, a radio problem with the maintenance of way crew would delay us in Avon Park, but only for a few minutes, just enough time for Liz to return with our lunches.
enough space that we had yesterday. I'll take the north signal, Avon Park, stop on the main line, and call JG if we don't get a hold of him here.
I understand. Like you yesterday, stop and call the dispatchers. They're gonna get all of them through that.
Main line. Red Bar, RNG, I'm not sure what's going on. We'll come up here and clear up the crossing and stop, over.
I understand. We'll come up, clear up cross and stop. Call the dispatch so you can get in touch with them.
While the train crew was trying to figure out the mess, I chowed down on my food. The cheeseburger was great, especially with an ice-cold Pepsi to wash it down.
Radio, I guess they jumped zones on me, so I didn't hear. I just seen that gate going down where I was up to.
Hey, we've been calling out 5 minutes, over.
I'm very sorry about that, sir.
Alright, not an issue. Thank you. I've got contact with you, over.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Alright, there, head in 91, conductor, over.
Stop the on the door. They're going up the track speed. That's right, that's right.
Getting by the maintenance of way crew, we were back up to track speed in no time, and soon pulling into Okeechobee, where yet more passengers got on, and others got off. It was a quick stop, only about 4 minutes or so.
Listen up for your station stop. Once we get to West Palm, the next station after that will be Delray, which is 24 minutes. After that, 10 minutes from Delray to Deerfield. From Deerfield to Fort Lauderdale is 10 minutes. From Fort Lauderdale to Hollywood is 14 minutes. From Hollywood to Miami is 25 minutes. So what I basically just did was gave you a rundown on the schedule. I normally get asked 50 more times what time we getting to somewhere.
Cruising along deep in the swamps, Liz drifted off to sleep, while dark clouds built up in the eastern sky. Our engineer today was our good friend Preston, and in usual fashion when he is engineer, we ran headlong into a South Florida thunderstorm. It was 3:30 in the afternoon when we broke through the brush and the downpour. We were clearly in South Florida now, judging by these fancy high-rises. This is the outskirts of West Palm Beach. It's safe to say that S. David Warfield would be proud of his South Florida extension today. Racing south, we would be on a lot of hot rail. We were strictly in the domain of Miami-Dade's Tri-Rail commuter service, and there was lots of traffic to move on this busy Friday evening.
Once again, they done it. West Palm Beach, West Palm is different. Once again, West Palm.
After leaving West Palm, we sprinted along the Tri-Rail corridor. With 5 o'clock traffic growing on I-95 in the distance, I'm glad we took the train. Besides, you can't have this much fun in a car or on a plane.
Wait, I gotta sing. I don't know all the words.
Watch me.
Okay, ready? Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Okay, now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Now watch me whip. Come on, watch me nay nay. Okay, watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. What we doing? Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me. Ooh, watch me.
I couldn't help but laugh as we sped by motorists unable to keep our pace. It was becoming clear as to how these trains got names like the Silver Meteor and Silver Star. We were really streaking along. Little did we know, this was not to last. Coming to a stop in Deerfield Beach, I noticed a sign inviting passengers to check out the South Florida Railway Museum. Of course, they, like many other railroad museums in Florida, would take from Seaboard Heritage the classic Heart of the South as its logo. This short stop, however, would turn into a very timely delay, as the southbound Tri-Rail train departs for points further south. It would not get very far. In just 2 short miles, it would go through a turnout and strike and kill a trespassing pedestrian on the line ahead of us, tying up operations here for several hours. As the evening wore on, Tri-Rail was still servicing one station just to the south before the accident scene, and the remaining stations to the north of Deerfield. Liz, Michael, and I decided to settle in for the long wait, Michael and I opting for some train watching and a chance to check out our head-end power. While we were stopped, we met one passenger, Miss Barbara, who is apparently used to these kind of delays, but still insists that train travel is still the way to go.
Because he was like melted to it. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. And then, see, we started taking off, and then they realized how bad the damage was on the front.
Yeah,
we pulled into the station, the passenger door, or the back seat door, was still stuck on the front of the train. The train caught up underneath, because of all the debris underneath. So then we were held up for an hour because of the debris underneath that had caught fire.
Oh, yeah.
And we had to wait for the fire department because they couldn't loosen it themselves. I had to wait for them to hose it up.
Sounds like you've had a lot of adventures. So.
Yeah, everywhere I go is an adventure.
Yeah. Well, between, people, cars, fire.
I know. But if they would just take an extra 30 seconds and, don't rush, then they wouldn't be permanently late.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
They're forever late now for my destination. Let's see. Tampa, didn't make it, 20 miles away. Let's see, what am I, 10 miles away from Fort Lauderdale? Still haven't made it yet. Yeah. First time was going to Hollywood. I was at Fort Lauderdale, didn't quite make it to Hollywood. Took an hour and a half that time, too.
While Tri-Rail was still shuttling passengers, we heeded Miss Barbara's advice. Taking the extra second, we decided it was best that we leave the train in Deerfield Beach, with my father driving us the remaining few miles to Miami. Finally, with almost none of its 175 passengers left on board, and almost 4 hours late, Amtrak PO 91 gets the approach and rolls slowly south. We hope you've enjoyed this video brought to you by Country Railfan Productions. Please take a moment to like and subscribe, or like us on Facebook. Be sure to support us on patreon.com, look for Country Railfan Productions, or through fan funding to help support our future Railfan trips. If you would like to travel by Amtrak, go to their website at www.amtrak.com. Be sure to check back with our channel regularly, or check out our website in the channel links for more great railroad media such as this. From Deerfield Beach, Florida, we say, happy train watching.